Thank you so much, Gugu. It's always weird when one hears about themselves. I could almost just die. Now, right off the bat, let's get this out the way. Anyone who knows me knows that my blood is green. So don't be fooled by the red dress. My boss already gave me the evil eye, but my blood is green. Now, as you all know, at Nedbank, we are the kings and queens of marketing relevance. I mean, have a look at this.
Who are those people? You see them on a Tuesday afternoon with the top down, driving. Where do they go? They spend summers in homes that look like the inside of interior decorating magazines, with business interests in Helsinki. Who's been to Helsinki? They look so well rested, even while jogging in their deep green suburbs. It seems they have advisors for everything. Some say they help save the Nijsne seahorse. Why the seahorse? Who are these people? Why do they always look so content? Nedbank. Approach life differently.
So that was a little awkward. I mean, who are these people? Because they certainly were not a reflection of our customers. So what was wrong with this picture? A couple of things I'll tell you. 8 years into democracy, when as a nation, South Africa was riding the wave of being a rainbow nation, this brand ad was launched. Now, this ad cemented an elitist perception of the brand that it was only for the select few, highlighting the massive gap between the haves and the have-nots. Now, here's the backstory. Nedcor had acquired 50% of Permanent Bank and People's Bank, which was made up of a large cohort of predominantly low-income earners. I mean, they didn't go to Helsinki, nor did they rescue seahorses. They certainly were not well rested. And so none of our clients saw themselves nor their reality in this ad. We saw a group of people and thought we could just enter into the room and start talking to them without really thinking about them at all. Needless to say, the ad was short-lived and pulled from flighting. I repeat, a little awkward. Simply put, we failed at reading the room. Now, as marketeers, we often take many things for granted and we assume too much. We're like strangers that enter into a room and randomly join a group of target markets and start talking about ourselves in ways that the audiences don't understand or connect with, in a tone that's often condescending or that just goes over their head. Just like this guy. I mean, who does that? In the real world, you just get a poor reaction from that group. In marketing, you're just irrelevant. And so as marketeers, we need to learn to read the room. As a banking brand, we've since been on a quest to unearthing the formula for relevant marketing. Stuff that works, you know? And so today, it gives me great pleasure to present to you a tried and tested formula that we've come up with for remaining relevant no matter what. Forget about Kotler's 7 C's. I'd like to call this the C's of relevant marketing. Now, marketing relevance is a function of the customer, the context, and the culture, creating content that connects, moving people from consideration to conversion, all underpinned by a construct of cross-functional collaboration. Okay, forget about writing it down. It's all garbage. Because relevance is just way too complicated and too unstable. It's always shifting, and it simply cannot be pinned down in a formula that non-actuaries actually understand. Okay, but don't write it off completely, because of course we must focus on a lot of the C's. But these are generally the C's that we have control and understanding over. C's like the content, about connecting, driving consideration, collaboration. But within the formula, there are 2 C's that we don't often spend enough time thinking about. And that may be the most important when it comes to having decent, valuable conversations with our target audiences. I'm talking about context and culture. So what do I mean specifically about the context and the culture? Well, the context speaks to the influence on consumers that their world around them has, the reality in which they exist in a particular place and time. This could be war, recession, COVID, social unrest, or even big sporting events. Whilst the culture represents the inner workings of who they are, that which is unique to each group within that room, that which binds them together. And I think an earlier speaker mentioned it's the color of their heart. I thought that was so beautiful. It's really a shared view of the world around them. Now, these two C's are not by any means mutually exclusive, because dramatic events wire and rewire our lives. They help to shape who we are and what we become. And when we get either of these two C's wrong, no matter how good your product, your offer, or your special is, you risk being cancelled. Now, even brands who get it right most of the time can very easily lose it. From being the ones who set the bar through their very successful Real Beauty campaign, the limited edition Dove packaging, which was designed to present a diverse representation of female bodies by drawing parallels between women's figures to abstract, shapeless soap bottles, was a complete miss in an era where body shaming was on the rise. And instead of reinforcing a strong body image, it ended up increasing self-consciousness, all because they failed to read the room they were in. And of course, who can forget the cringe-worthy Pepsi campaign featuring Kylie Jenner? Now, this was, of course, cancelled by the culture for reenacting a scene from a protest, and in a sense, trivializing the Black Lives Matter movement for commercial gain. Now, both of these previous campaigns may have ticked many of the great marketing boxes, by the way. They were creative, they were clever, they were collaborative, you name it. But when you go down this tone-deaf path, you lose all credibility with the group that you're trying to converse with. You show exactly how little you know about who they are and where they are, their culture and their context. But oh, how magical it is when brands get it right, like sunlight, when consumers will embrace your brand and make it their own by finding 1,000,001 uses for it, from being a roll-on to being shampoo. When you get to this stage, where the culture embraces you as one of their own and the brand no longer belongs to the organization, but to the people, this relationship needs to be guarded, respected, and honored. Now, a brand that has really leaned into the cultural context is the BMW with the classic model, the 325 IS. Now, as most would say, it's born in Germany and raised eKasi. Now, this particular sport model was built exclusively for the South African market and to date remains undoubtedly a legend. It is widely known to South Africans as iGusheshe, Ithemba lamahumusha, a name that even Google acknowledges. Have a look at this.
iGusheshe, iGrootman lama PM. It never gets tired unless the owner is careless. The wise one, the one that everyone tips their hat for. From Msotra to Mlazi, it's known as Ithemba lamahumusha. Whether we are spinner or Rushay around, iGusheshe fits right in. 30 years later, we still respect you. Usachama, the young and the old. So as a way of honoring you, Rodman, Situleli Skogo with the 330 IS limited edition. So you can continue with the legacy of turning heads. The legacy of people aspiring to drive you. And we will continue to honor you 30 years to come. The new BMW 330 IS limited edition. Yes.
Oh man, that takes me right back home at Pimville Estates, as I call it. And sometimes, even banks get it right. Now, as a banking brand, we are incredibly clear that our business cannot thrive in a weak economy and an ailing society. And therefore, it is incumbent upon us to play a role in systemic transformation. Now, this we articulate through our purpose of using our financial expertise to do good for individuals, for families, for businesses, and for society. And so when the context in our country changed and our society was under threat, this is how we responded.
After 2 years of a global pandemic, in July 2021, South Africa woke up to widespread violence and social unrest, resulting in destruction of businesses and a complete decimation of the informal trade. In total, an estimated 50 billion rands lost to the South African economy. Despite being the hardest hit, the resilient spirit within startups, side hustlers and informal traders, Laba Abazama Impilo, could not be extinguished. Using the cultural lexicon of the day, Nedbank, the money experts who do good, presents Together Beke Le Beke, a mentorship, funding and marketing program for micro-entrepreneurs.
What inspired Nedbank to begin with this initiative is that we know that a huge portion of our economy actually sits within the micro-entrepreneurs.
Anchored on a 3-minute episodic documentary series which spotlighted a micro-entrepreneur's business on SABC1 for a period of 12 weeks. The Together Beke Le Beke movement made a meaningful impact as 113 small businesses were supported through our partnership with Ranyaka. Over 20,000 applications received for the Slow Fund initiative, and SIFA grants totaling 13 million rand were paid through our Nedbank Mobi Money wallet. Our TV mini docu-series reached 22 million people. We published 252 content pieces on social media, generating at least 1,300 conversations, while our organic content achieved 1.4 million impressions in just 3 months. The PR buzz generated 8 million rand of value, with a reach worth 149 million. At the time that the campaign was in market, our Nedbank Mobi Money wallet reached its 1 million customer milestone, resulting in 27% of our campaign beneficiaries using this channel as their preferred payment platform. As the campaign wrapped, 47% of our beneficiaries converted to being Nedbank clients, and Nedbank led in net brand sentiment scores, proving that doing good is good business. Together Beke Le Beke, week in and week out.
Now, as marketing leaders and brand strategists, it is critical to understand our customers' context and the cultural shifts together with the drivers of change so that we can intelligently respond to the changing values, needs, and desires. So before you leap into conversations with people already in one, consider who it is that you're talking to. Consider where they are and then act accordingly. Now, part of understanding the context and the culture is assessing if you even have the permission to enter into the conversations. Because, by the way, not all conversations require your brand voice. And so using the Together Beke Le Beke case study, there are some learnings which we gained on regaining relevance and some key questions that you can ask yourself as you read the room. The first question, does my brand have the credibility to speak in this room? Now, this speaks to your purpose as a brand. Before you can even connect through conversation, you have to connect through purpose, because it is that purpose that inserts you authentically into the conversation. Now, Nedbank's purpose has always been a public and overtly communicated statement. It has for many years been a North Star that has guided the business in all of its endeavors and how it frames up our values. And as such, Nedbank has continuously been a bank that is at the forefront of driving financial inclusion through our commitment to using our scale and financial expertise to deliver on our purpose. And now it is this very ethos of being purpose-led that inspired us to heed the plight of micro-entrepreneurs at a time when they needed the financial services sector to rise and back them in a meaningful way. So ask yourself, is your purpose one that connects to and resonates with your audience? Is it something that you are known for and have the credibility to speak about? The second question is about authenticity. How much makeup do I need to put on in order to be seen, liked, and heard in this room? Now, this speaks to the notion that you are the best brand to do this for your audiences. Consider your tone of voice. Is it one that is believable? It's about the language that connects you to your audiences. It's about communicating at the speed of culture and leading with empathy, because the same things that make us engage with people are exactly how we expect to engage with brands. And the third question, what value is my brand bringing to the table? So what is your compelling and differentiated value proposition? The thing that will add value to the lives of the people in that room. Is it something that they need and will be better off because you are in that room? And a speaker earlier spoke about this. Now, in understanding the critical role played by small businesses in South Africa, the intent was for Nedbank to use our scale, resources, and expertise to inspire the startups, the informal traders, the side hustlers, and the micro-entrepreneurs, all operating in the informal economy across the nation, to just start, rebuild, and grow their businesses through the provision of mentorships and financial support amidst a very volatile socioeconomic climate. Now that you're in the room and you've been granted the permission to speak, how you speak can increase your relevance in that room. Now, here are some tips inspired by the Culture Rising 2022 Trends Report. The first one is about connecting with your community. We all have biases, mostly that others are exactly like us, so we already get them. Trust me, you don't. So talk to and engage with people whose experiences can expand yours to help ensure authentic and inclusive representation. You've all heard the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, find a friend. So collaborate for success. No matter your business objective, there's a strong chance that you can do it better with a partner. It could be a set of diverse creators, members of an underrepresented community, a gamer in the metaverse, an NGO, or even another like-minded brand. And the third tip is exploit colliding trends. Because no trend is an island. You want to see real magic? Bring a few trends together. For example, combining e-commerce and entertainment, and you get live shoppertainment. The possibilities are endless. And so if content is king, then context is God. Because the context sets the culture and it frames the opportunity. The context of the environment serves as the frame, and it signals what behaviors follow, because as humans, our behaviors are often dependent on the location that we find ourselves in. And as marketers, we influence behavior. And so when you understand the design of that environment, it allows you to pull at the levers that can influence that behavior. When a brand understands the culture and the context in which it operates and is able to lean into that, the culture recognizes the brand, and ultimately, the brand wins. And that, to me, is what relevance is all about. There is no magical formula to relevance, but there are some things that you as a marketeer can certainly be intentional about in order to increase your relevance score. You can start by reading the room. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. My name is Buli Ndlovu.